Catherine Foley here, live at 5, and I'm going to read from my book today, Beyond the Breakwater. And this book came out in 2018 and it won the News and Star Green Room Award for Best New Book that year, so just to remind you. And we're going to finish up, I'll have the last reading this Wednesday. So today's chapter is chapter 66, Dan the Man. And because it's about hurling, I wore especially, my director RoseAnn told me, put on the hurling shirt for Waterford. So I'll never forget the morning the hurler Dan Shanahan came to our house in Ring to deliver the oil. It was in 2008, the year the Waterford hurlers made a bid to win the Liam McCarthy Cup against Kilkenny in the All-Ireland final in Croke Park. Of course, RoseAnn had hinted to the receptionist in Cumra Oil that we'd especially love if the hurling hero was the person to be dispatched from the depot to make the delivery. The day was still fine and the sun was making an early showing when he arrived. RoseAnn raced up the stairs in a flurry of excitement. Dan Shanahan is here with the oil, she shouted incredulously. It was better than having a film star or a pop star come to call. We were out the door like greyhounds. Dan Shanahan is revered in West Waterford. His prowess on the hurling field was undisputed. He was a gazelle on the pitch. He was grace and power, fire and skill, all rolled into one. He was a wizard with the hurl. He had always been the first player you would spot on the pitch. No one scored or ignited a crowd to the great levels of excitement like he could. In Dungarvan town, middle-aged women smiled with admiring nods when he passed. Men saluted him with a congratulatory shake of the head and a comradely, "Well, Dan the man." Young boys and sometimes girls nudged each other when he went by. Simply put, he was a celebrity in the Daisha. RoseAnn and I both ran to the back of the house like mad women, hyperventilating and foolish. I patted down my uncombed hair and with my bed socks, corduroy skirt and torn jumper hoped I didn't look like a character out of Dancing at Lunasa. The giddy confusion I felt at the idea of meeting Dan Shanahan took me by surprise. Who knew I'd be so starstruck or act so like a schoolgirl? He was at our wall, tall, standing by the lorry in all his handsome glory, the smile intact, the eyes full of vitality, the big hands hanging empty. We were hardly able to talk, such was our joy at meeting the man from Lismore. Over the years we'd seen him play in Semple Stadium against Limerick, against Cork, against Clare. We'd locked up and left parishes deserted to go and cheer for the men in blue and white. We'd travelled with neighbours, bedecked in the Waterford colours, to away matches when potential heartache battled it out with the sliver of a chance of victory. We'd seen the team defeated in Croke Park when we'd stood in the rain, soaked and disbelieving. But whatever the match, when Dan raced up the field, it was time to jump to your feet. Pulses quickened when Dan moved. He was like lightning, swinging the hurley in a single flowing swirl of force. It was like watching a great ballet when his fellow teammate, the great John Milan, quick as a flash on thin white legs, when he got possession of the schlitter and passed it seamlessly to Shanahan. On those days of championship games, goals and points would rain thick and fast. The players would veer like greyhounds and they'd send the ball flying over or under the goalposts. We always roared and cheered on Dan and the men. As he stood there on the road that day beside the oil lorry, unassuming and soft-spoken, he chatted to us about Waterford's chances in that year's championship. At that stage, the team had yet to play Tipperary in the All-Ireland semi-final. "Ye haven't peaked yet, and that's good," said I, like a seasoned commentator. He listened and nodded indulgently. Up close he seemed so young and slight. Not the great beefy giant I had imagined. We swelled with pride as he chatted to us. "Keep the prayers up," he said. "We will," we assured him, and with a smile he climbed into the cab of the lorry and he was gone. On that morning at home our hopes were high, but caution and past defeats held our hearts in check. The heady excitement of possibly playing in an All-Ireland final, the first in 45 years, had yet to lift us to new, dizzier heights. A decade later, the idea of winning the All-Ireland is still only a dream, but my heart always rose up with pride when Dan lifted the ball onto his hurley. Time slowed down then. All of us in the stands seemed to breathe as one, exhaling as the ball inevitably flew over the bar. Even after the disappointment of the team's defeat in the All-Ireland final of 2008 and again in 2017 with Dan on the sideline as passionate as ever, I'm confident that with all the great Waterford men from around the county on our side, men who grew up admiring stars like Dan Shanahan, the Dacia will surely be set to go all the way someday soon. So thank you. That's all for now. Bye. Talk again tomorrow.